right around the corner, sorry. So we got our last lecture today. It's Dr. Peng, many of you probably know him already. He runs a cardiac MR lab as well. So he and I collaborate a lot together, hold a joint lab meeting, lots of journal clubs, students and postdocs are working together on different projects, things like that. So also a good friend, and it's certainly an expert when it comes to parallel imaging and compressed sensing. So that's his talk today, and we'll get it recorded and we'll get it uploaded, and you guys can stay like mad for the final, which is Tuesday. That's been on the website, and then we did, at some point we moved the time, so it's Tuesday 1 to 4, and I know some of you have another final that's in the morning, and there's nothing we can do. We've tried several different combinations, okay? So I'm sorry, you only have an hour break, I think, between one final and the next.
Is the final in this room?
The final will be in this room. The other interesting thing about having the final in this room is that the bioengineering department has a faculty meeting at 4. Okay, so the final will be done at 4. That's just the way it goes. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Hu get started, and then his lecture probably runs hour 30, hour 40 minutes. And we're also going to do evaluations at the end of the class, so Reth Thatch from Biomedical Physics is going to come by and make sure you guys do your evaluations. It's really important, actually, for both of us, that we get evaluated on the quality of the course and all this kind of stuff. So your feedback, positive or negative, is both really useful. Okay? Right, rock and roll.
Okay, great. Let's get started. So today we're going to talk about parallel imaging and compressed sensing for MRI. Raise your hand if you heard about this term, parallel imaging, before. Okay. Compressed sensing. Okay. All right, at least some of you know at least the term. So we're going to talk a little bit details about what this means in context of imaging for MRI. Just some very basic techniques. So as we know, MRI in general has very low signal level. If you're talking about, there's a term called polarization, and you put the object into the MRI scanner, then the number of spins that are actually providing the signal, line up with the field strength, the field is only several ppm, parts per million. So it's a very small population. So signal is always, for many applications, always something we're really hoping to get more. We can't get enough signal always. And several things you can overcome this issue. One is go for higher fields, because when you go for 1.5T to 3T, for example, the polarization really scales linearly with the field strength. That theoretically that's true. And also you can improve the detection, meaning that you can use higher quality coils. This is also very active research area, because if you do that, then you can potentially reduce noise in the signal, and effectively increases your signal to noise ratio. However, now these days the electronics are so good, radio frequency chain, receiver chain. Usually the noise from the body dominates your signal, not the noise from the electronics, the amplifiers and things. Feel free to ask any questions in the meantime. I want it to be very interactive. Another thing is MRI is slow. Okay, that's another thing that we probably keep talking about. The fact that you can only sample case space one at a time. You want to learn about case space, how gradients travel, user gradients travel in case space. You can only be at one location at a time in case space. Right? So you have many points to sample, then it's zero process. It's taking a long time. That's why MRI is very slow. Compared to other modality, for example, CT, you have so many hardware sensors. You can sense the signal in parallel. So that's why it's many times. Okay, slow encode. With a digital camera as well. Obviously, digital camera is a snapshot to take everything. Okay. Slow repetition time. Okay, and there's a relaxation time. T1, T2. You guys know about that. These are relatively long time, so you actually need relatively long time to relax and store the sequence. And many times you need conference agents, okay, and faster readings. That's very useful here. So the reason I'm talking about MR slow is that's because that's really a very important area where you want to improve on, because you can improve that patient throughput by accelerating MR scans. And there are many things that, for example, we can accelerate to the point where you can take care of a lot of motion issues. There's a lot of things to consider here. So there's always interest to accelerate, make it faster, make the total acquisition time shorter. Okay? It just matters how to do that. So if we look at this equation that you should be all familiar with. Might be a different. We're using different symbols here from your past notes. Okay? But here is your case-based signal. Right? MXY is your magnetization. It's actually your MR signal. It's a function of proton density. It's a function of your T1, T2, all that intrinsic property of the tissue here. This is the Fourier transform. Right? And basically do the integral over the volume that gives you the signal at case-based location K here. Okay? So that I think you guys all should be very familiar now so far. And so the thing is that so the speed MR is dependent on how speed the travel case-based. We talked about that, and the case-based location is controlled by the gradients. You might think, now intuitively, how to accelerate it? Well, one way to do that is to use a faster gradients, because you think about it, if you can travel faster, or you can be at one location at a time, but if you can travel faster, then you can finish the scan sooner as well. But there's a limit there. I mean, you can do faster gradients, but there's issues there. For example, peripheral nerve stimulation. Do you know what that is? Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, just like the axis potential is just changing.
Right. When you have a very fast change in gradients, that's a very fast changing magnetic field.
Yeah.
That generates electric field.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Right. Yeah, and that can change your, for example, your
The book was central felt particle created from
right. You can generate some kind of action potentials, for example, in neurons, and you can feel it sometimes. So there's a limit there. This is a really FDA regulated parameter. We cannot go limitless. There has to be a limit there. And also gradient amplifier power considerations. If you go faster gradients, because if you want to run a faster gradient, that means you actually you think about it. You travel from one case-based location to another. If you want to travel faster, that means your gradient duration has to be shorter. At the same time, the gradient amplitude has to be higher. So there's a lot of more power required for this. For example, if you think about it, from here to here, the duration might be half, but the amplitude might be double. Right? And the power is actually scales with a cube of all these parameter product together. So there's also a limit there in terms of power considerations. And also SNR. What do you think about SNR? Are you guys familiar with the receiver bandwidth parameter? Right? So when you travel case-based faster, that means your bandwidth is higher. Right? When you have a higher bandwidth, you actually pay a penalty for the SNR. You reduce your SNR. So all these are practical considerations. That means what I'm saying here is that there's really a limit there how much you can do in terms of accelerating MRI if you run faster gradients. That's why people are thinking about people think of alternative strategies here, which is parallel imaging. That's where parallel imaging comes in. So what is it really the parallel imaging here? If you think about it, in MRI scan, one way to do that, before parallel imaging was developed, people have been using what we call multi-coil arrays. These are surface arrays, coils, several coils together. There are different locations covering the body in atomic region. And here there's a brain scan, for example. Here, these are 4 individual coil elements. And you can see that this coil element here is a little closer to the frontal lobe of the brain, and here is more in the back. So there are different locations here, and because these coils are relatively small, right, compared to the object, so their signal intensity actually is not very uniform. Right? And traditionally, the way we use these coil elements is to basically do a sum of squares combination. You get this signal intensity of all these coil elements, and you just combine them, use sum of squares, and square root of that. That gives you a near optimal in terms of SNR for these kind of images. So that's, if we're talking about 20 years ago, that's that's really how people use it. But it turns out there's more to it because the fact that you're using multiple coils, actually you can do some tricks here to accelerate the scan by taking advantage of these differential spatial profiles of these coils. So here's how we do it, okay? So these are examples of the same scan, but you can see the 4 coil elements. These are actually what we call the coil intensity profiles. You can see that they are very, very, it's not very uniform, and it's the coil basically is more sensitive to signal in locations that are close to the coil. And for the locations farther away from the coil, that coil is not going to pick up the signal. That's another combination here. So you might think, okay, what if we can design, theoretically, we could design a coil such that it's got this kind of profile, okay? This coil only covers this little square here, nothing else. The same here. Then if that's true, then you don't need power imaging. What you need to do is really, okay, get 4 images from this coil, that coil, that coil, that coil, and just to put them together. Right? Because each coil basically covers a quarter of the brain, and you're done. But think about it, in reality, that's not possible to do. Obviously. You cannot have such a sudden change in coil intensity. Just engineering-wise, not possible. Right? It has to be very smooth in space. So if you have smooth in space, then there's issues there. So how does parallel imaging work? Well, to answer that question, we need to change or modify our original signal equation here a little bit more differently here by adding another term here. So again, this is a case-based signal. It's your magnetization for your transform. And we add this term C gamma R here. So this is what we call coil intensity. Gamma is indexed to coil elements. Okay. So what we're saying here is, okay, so for the coil element number gamma, the case-based signal for that element is really basically the object itself times the coil intensity on the location on a voxel basis, and this is a new object basically for that coil, and then you do a Fourier transform. It's just a case-based signal. To go to a little more details here, I think it's useful to simplify this equation because we know that in the readout direction or x direction, there's always no parallel imaging. I hope everyone understands that. It doesn't make sense to accelerate in the readout direction. Okay, so in order to simplify this equation, we can modify this and make it only y direction. So we ignore the x direction because x direction is basically a Fourier transform. It's really nothing special about it. And the new signal equation is like this. Okay, so the signal for coil number gamma for location of ky, y is your index in physical direction, is equal to your magnetization as function of y only, because we simplify it, get rid of the x, and also the coil profile as y, as function of y as well. Okay, and everything else is the same. And you can further make it discrete because everything is discrete in a computer. And so basically this is the integral becomes a summation here. And again, this is a coil intensity profile, which is the object, and the Fourier transform in a discrete form. Okay. Everybody understand that? Okay. Once we have that, okay, let's take a look at a very simple case here. Let's say you have 2 voxels, and that's your image, just 2 voxels, and they're side by side to each other. And their intensity, the signal intensity is A and B. Okay. All right. So what is the case-based signal for this object? First, how many points do we need to acquire case-based? 2, right? Because of two voxels, you need to acquire 2 points in case-based. And what are they? What are these 2 points? What is the value of these case-based signal?
Average of them for
Okay.
maybe subtracting to go to the
Yeah, that's exactly right. If you follow this equation here, basically that means U and V here, they run from 0 to 1, both. Right? So if you talk about, so So yeah, so the zero frequency component is really the addition of these, the sum of these. Because if you think about it, that means this is only two terms here. The first term is a times e to the minus I 2 pi times uv pi over n. N is equal to 2, right? But here, the first term u is 0. So actually this term is 0. This term is 1. So the first term is a. The second term is for the second voxel here. So this term is b, but again, in this case, it's still reduced to 1. Basically, it's a plus b. If you run through the equation, does that make sense?
So for BU equals to 1 and B equals to 0.
Excuse me?
For the voxel B,
Yes.
the U should equal to 1.
Right. Right.
The V should equal to 0.
So the v here is always 0, right? So we're looking for S of v, which v is 0. So actually, yeah. So in either case, the v is 0. No matter what, this is going to be reduced to 1. So that's why it's a plus b. Right. For the second term, so that's S of 1. Now v equal to 1 here. What is this? It's a minus b. Because you think about the first term, v is equal to 1, u is 0 for the first term here. So it's a. Right. The second term, u is 1, and v is 1. And so 1 over 2, that's a pi, but there's a minus here. So it's actually minus b, the second term. It's minus b. Does that make sense? That's really the basic Fourier transform we're doing here. So that's simple. That means, for these two voxels, if you measure two k-space locations, S0 and S1, and you know these quantities, and then you can basically do a simple inverse Fourier transform to calculate what you're looking for, which is the A and B here. Okay. If you put it into equation, basically this is your known signal, k-space sample number 1, or number 0, k-space sample number 1. And we know from the signal equation here, the A, B you're looking for vector is basically inverse of the encoding matrix, 1, 1, 1, minus 1, times your k-space signal. Okay, that's how you calculate. That's really exactly what we're doing in MRI reconstruction, if you simply do Fourier transform. Okay?
Can you just point out where the encoding matrix is coming from relative to the two equations that we used?
Yeah, sure. So the encoding matrix here is basically the weighting for these numbers 1, 1, and 1, 0, 1, minus 1. But you need to invert that matrix to calculate actually the Voxel numbers. I think that's, again, this is basically Fourier transform. So we're just talking about a very specific case here. Okay? Everybody understand that? It's going to get a little bit more complicated. So what about 4? Let's just do it one more time here. We have 4 voxels, again in one direction, and they're aligned A, B, C, D. Okay, so we need 4 k-space locations to be able to recover that. What are the k-space samples? What is the first one? S0. Correct. Because, again, in this case, v equals 0, no matter what u is, it's always reduced to 1. So basically, summation of all the voxel values. Okay. What about the second one? That's the 1. You guess?
We definitely have complex for second one, but
Yes.
I don't know. Because we have 4 vectors, instruction is
Right. They're 90 degrees. Yes. So basically, if you plug in the equation here, in this case, the set S of 1, I'll tell you the answer. S of 1, in this case, v equal to 1. Okay. So the first term, u equal to 0, and this is a, right? Because this again reduces to 1. The second term, u equal to 1, v equal to 1. Right? What is it?
90 minus 9.
Minus 90, because n now is 4, it's not 2 anymore. So it's actually, it's 1 times 1 over 4, that's a half a pi, minus half a pi, that's why it's minus I here, 90 degrees. C here, for the third term here, C, u equal to 2, v equal to 1. So 2, 1 over 4, that's a pi, right? It's a minus pi. The last term is plus I. You can do the math. Okay. Next one. Be patient. Let's just go through this. I think this is important. It's still going to be complex. Maybe not. Yeah, maybe sure. Right. I'm thinking about the answer. So what is it? Any takers? Correct. Yes. Because basically, we're not going to go through every math here, but that's you can do it. Yeah. What is it?
No. All right.
Basically, in this case, every term, the phase term is counterclockwise 180 degrees instead of 90 degrees. And the fourth one will be every time 270 degrees. So it's going to be what? Yes, is that what you? That's what you mentioned. So basically, it's so 230 degrees plus I. So that's the signal here, all right, for an object of 4 voxels. All right. So we go through the same exercise. Now we have 4 samples. How do we do it? Remember, the encoding matrix is basically are the weightings 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 minus I, etc. And you have to invert that matrix. And then this is your measured case-based sample. This is basically that tells you this is an inverse Fourier transform. This is exactly what it is. I'm just plugging some numbers for you. Okay. All right. So this matrix here, it's got very nice properties. Orthonormal means that it's got very well-defined inverse. Okay. That's just it's a property of Fourier transform because you have fully encoded. Okay, that's good. Now we solve the problem without parallel imaging. That's how we do it. Okay, gets a little bit more complicated here. Again, the same object, right? But now you have 2 coils instead of 1. Remember, each coil has its own copy of the case-based signal. They're different. So that means you still have 4 voxels, but because of 2 coils, you actually have 8 signals to measure. Right? At 4 locations in case source. What are they? Do you want to go through one at least?
Same as the sensitivity.
Yeah, so now the coil sensitivity is going to be integrated into your encoding matrix.
Yeah, so it's like the first one would be just like CA times A plus CD times plus B plus CC times C plus CD times C. But then
Correct.
it's the same pattern as the one that we just did before, just taking into account the coil sensitivity. But now we also have 2 coils, so then we'll have a total of 8 equations. So we'll have a total of 8 equations.
Right, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you go a little bit too fast, but we're getting there. Yes. That's right. So we have, so for coil 1, you have this signal here, right? For coil 2, basically you just need to change all the 1 to 2s. That's what you need to do. Okay, let you finish coil 1 first. So the second signal, so basically the same parameters, minus I, minus 1, plus I. But every term you add a coil intensity for that location. Does that make sense? What is S1 of 2? Can you speak up?
A C1 0 minus B
Yes. Plus
minus
Yeah. It's hard. It's getting hard to do that. Yeah, but that's correct. So basically, again, the same pattern. We're just adding the coil intensity profile. S3 is the same thing. Okay. And in coil 2, what you need to do is replace all the ones with 2s. Okay. Now all of a sudden you have eight case-based samples at 4 locations. Each location has 2 copies, one for each coil. Now the problem becomes very interesting. So we have 8 measurements, but we have 4 unknowns. So this is an overdetermined problem. So obviously, you think, okay, do we really need to measure that many signals? Because in theory, think about it, right? 4 unknowns, you probably only need 4 measurements. We have 8, right? So but you know that for each coil, these 2 coils are listening to signal all the time. If you get one signal from one coil, you're going to get a signal from the other coil. This becomes free, basically, right? So if you want to only do 4 measurements, how do you do it?
Just for 2 measurements. We measure the 2 coil and 2 other coil.
Right. So 2 locations, case-based
Yeah.
locations. Yeah, that's exactly what parallel imaging is all about. So you, instead of sampling the same number of case-based samples as the voxel, number of voxels, you actually reduce that. So in this case, let's say I'm only going to measure case-based location 0 and 2. I'm going to skip 1 and 3. So that means we have 2 case-based locations, but each location have 2 signals from 2 different coils. So altogether we have four measurements here. These measurements are only from locations 0 and 2, right? And that matrix reduces to like this. Okay? So the goal here is still the same. We want to find out what these ABCDs are by inverting this matrix times your measurements. That's how you do it. But the problem here is that this matrix is not orthonormal anymore. Okay? So when you invert it, there's some issues associated with it. For example, it amplifies the noise in the process. But this is basically a very specific example of how do you achieve 2x acceleration in case-based, by skipping case-based locations and using the multiple copies of coils to compensate for that. That's how to do it. Okay, so let's take a look at if you do that, what's going to happen. Let's say you have an object here. This is a phantom with a whole bunch of holes in it. And if you have this case base, right, let's say 256 lines, and even the odd lines are they're all sampled. If you do Fourier transform, again, this is a very nice property. Fourier transform is an orthonormal matrix. You get a very nice object here. But if you did what we said we were going to do, which is skipping every other line, because we only do 0 and 2 and skipping 1 and 3, skipping every other location here. So we're only sampling the odd number of lines. What's going to happen? This is what is it called? You should learn about this already. It's an aliasing. Yes. So this is the aliasing. Okay. By under-sampling case base, you have an alias image. Okay. Now the question is, obviously this is not going to be diagnostic because you know it's going to be overlaid on your bounds. So how do we do that? Well, that's where trial imaging comes in. So what we do is basically we have 2 coils, and each coil, again, we're sampling under-sampled cases, and you have aliased image. But these aliased images are different. You see that this coil is more sensitive to this region area, this region. So that's why this alias part, which is the bottom of the phantom, is brighter than the top part. The other one is the other. Top is more brighter than the top. Okay. So the alias, they're both alias in the same way, but the actual alias image is different. Right. And what we do is assume that we have the coil sensitivity profiles, C's, which let's say we can measure those actually. Then we need to figure out from these data to reconstruct aliasing-free image. Okay. This is exactly where this equation of the last slide came in. Basically, by inverting this matrix, you can actually cover ABC. This is a parameter. This is what we call sense. It's really a fundamental method in parameter. This is what it is. The practical way of implementing this inversion might be different because you have to consider coil covariance, coil sort of noise covariance and noise characteristics of the coils. But this is really the spirit of how to do it. So let's take a closer look at the sensitivity encoding matrix here. First of all, it's a very huge matrix. If you're talking about a typical 256 or 256 image, let's say you have 32 channel coil. It's actually not. It's getting more common these days for many coil elements. So the matrix size is actually this by this. And if you want to invert that matrix, if you do the math, it's almost impossible to do if you invert it. There's other ways to do that, but in general, it's a very, very time-consuming process. I'm going to show you later in Cartesian sampling. You can simplify this inversion process quite a bit. I'll show you how to do that. But for non-Cartesian scanning, then it's really there's no very straightforward way to do that. There's conjugate gradients method that can be used to iteratively solve this problem. But if again, you cannot directly invert it, it's going to take forever to do. And this kind of encoding, sensitivity encoding requires the coil sensitivity, very accurate knowledge of coil sensitivity. You have to measure it because any error in your measurement of coil sensitivity is going to directly translate into error in your reconstructed image.
So here is referred to the number of coils.
Yes.
And what's the meaning of this spike and 256?
Well, these are the number of voxels.
Yes, but it's following by another 256.
Oh, right. That's a number of case specifications. They usually match up. Right? I'm talking about, just sensitivity encoding matrix without parallel gradients. This is for 256 by 256. Right? Go back to this equation here. This equation here. Right? So basically, this is 4, but we're saying this actually is 256 by 256. Because that's how many voxels we're trying to. Yes? Measure the coil sensitivity? Yeah, that's a very good question. So there are different ways, like practically how do you do that? I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But basically, you need to measure it either beforehand or during the acquisition. There's some ways you can do it. For example, using the low resolution images. It depends what data do you use for simulation, but how exactly you do it. Do you have any specific? Well, the thing is that the sensitivity map, if you think about it, it's different for every patient. If a patient is bigger or smaller, the way you position the coil, they're all different. They change every patient, and also on the same patient, they can change from time to time as well. So it has to be measured. Yes? You have to. You have no choice. Think about it. I mean, what determines your location case space? It's not where the coil. It's actually where the gradient moments are. So you can have a million coils, but you have the same location. Doesn't matter what you do, right? Because they share the same gradients. That's a good question. Yes.
But in this case, you're not taking advantage of a coil being more sensitive. So the image that you showed before at the beginning, the idea situation, you're not taking advantage of the fact that the coil is more sensitive in one region than another. You're just taking the same position in the space.
We are actually. I think this point is going to become more clear in the later slide when I show the Cartesian case. Basically, what we're saying, okay, maybe I'll talk about that, but I'll keep that question.
You see it partly in the system of equations here. Huge matrix is all systems.
Right, but here we are,
It's multiplied onto the signal.
right,
The signals that you measure.
right, but here we are deleting rows, right? So
Right. But you still have coil sensitivity in there, even
right,
after the deleted rows.
yeah. So we're deleting rows. So we are if C1 of 0, C1 of 1 and 2 and 3 would be different, right? Because of the coil sensitivity. But since I'm deleting a row, I'm not deleting the worst. I'm not deleting the worst entries in this matrix, which are associated with the lower coil sensitivity, for example. So here you're deleting a row. So
Right.
yeah. So basically, you're deleting if C1 will have a profile for that specific coil, and so you will like maybe to keep the entries of this matrix which have the higher coil sensitivity. I don't know. But you can.
Are you talking about here? This one here?
Yes. So C1 of 0, C1 of 1, 2, and 3, they have different values depending on the
Yes.
coil. Maybe in this matrix, you would like to keep these entries, the entries of this matrix which are associated with the higher coil sensitivity.
Oh, you're talking about you want to keep the entries that are higher.
For example, in the coil sensitivity, but
Well-
here you can't. Or
Right. I think we're not really using like choosing only the higher intensity ones.
right,
We're actually taking advantage of the difference in coil sensitivities at the same location between the different coils.
right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Use that difference to figure out.
But yes, no, it does make sense. But in this case, you're not taking. Or maybe I'm missing a point. That's why I'm asking. But you're not taking advantage of the fact that the coil, given its position, is more sensitive to signal which is close to it.
There are another category of telemetry called pills, which I don't think many people are using that anymore. But that's exactly taking advantage of that point. So basically, what it does is that for coils that are, locations that are closer to one coil, then you give that coil more weighting.
Right. But so since we are deleting rows and we are not taking advantage of that, does that cause the fact that then you're trying to invert the system, the matrix, but
Right.
then you're really trying to use the difference between signal in different coils?
Right.
Or one signal in one coil can be very good, and in another coil can be bad just because it's far away from that coil.
Right.
So does that cause artifact, or you're kind of amplifying the noise in your image? doing
Exactly.
this?
That is true. So, but the thing, I'm not claiming that deleting this one is going to make it better. We kind of have to delete because we want to accelerate, because you have no choice. Does that make sense? We have to deal with it after deleting how to get the best image possible, given that you have deleted. That makes sense.
How to measure the sensitivity?
I'll talk about that as well. Okay, so Cartesian. We know Cartesian sampling has very nice properties. Okay, one nice property is that if you do two-fold undersampling, let's say this brain here. If you undersample, this is undersample in that direction. Okay, and what's happening is that this is a coil number n, right? This is like not very uniform profile here, and you multiply this together, voxel and voxel, right? I give you images like this, all right? If you undersample the K-space that correspond to this one, then you get something like this. So what's interesting about Cartesian sampling is that this aliasing is very well organized, meaning that if you look at this location here, okay, the aliased image, every voxel here contains the energy or signal from other voxels. That's what aliasing is all about. Right? One voxel, because we have put another voxel on top of the other, so they actually combine the signal. But if you do Cartesian sampling, this voxel, you're very sure this voxel only contains signal from these two, not anything else. Not here, not here, not here, not here. Only these two. Because you're doing Cartesian sampling. Does everybody understand that? This is very important. Okay. So that makes it easier for me, for us. Basically, we're saying, okay, we know that this signal is combined signal, right? But we know it only comes from two possible locations. I don't have to deal with any other location for that voxel. Right? So if you look at what's happening in math, this is a signal of R1, which is its location here, is equal to your coil sensitivity of R1 for coil number 1, okay, and times the signal intensity of coil number 2. Okay, that's really, it's basically, see, it's a weighted linear combination. Okay. If you do coil number 2, this coil obviously has very different coil sensitivity profiles here. So these parameters are different. But still, for the same location, you get a signal like this. Right? Now things become interesting because here, instead of inverting the gigantic matrix and recover all the 256 by 256 voxels at once, all the time, at one time, you can actually break it down into 256 or 256 smaller jumps. And each task exactly here. So basically, okay, for this voxel and this voxel, I'm going to figure out the location, the intensity of these two voxels here. Because I have a measurement of two coils, I have two signal measurements. These are measurements for that aliased location. I know this location comes from these two, okay? And their combination, the weighting factor, I know already. I can measure the coil sensitivities. So I have this, I know these weighting factors, I just want to calculate IR1, IR2. What do we do? It's simple, right? It's very simple to do, right? So what do we do? Well, we basically, it's actually more special, more general case here, but more coils basically just expand the number of signals here. So you have more than two measurements. Usually two might not be enough because there's noise involved in this.
It's in the image space, right?
This is image. Well, yeah, that's right. I should not use S here. Right? It's actually image space. That's a good point. Okay. So what we do is, okay, we have the measurement. This is known. We have the encoding. What is that? It's not encoding matrix. It's just coil sensitivity profile matrix here for these different coils, and we have unknowns. What we need to do to calculate I is really invert this matrix here. The inverter of this, C plus times the S matrix. That'll give you the I's. Now in this case, this is only 2 by 1 vector instead of 256 by 256 by 1 vector. So you can see how much less work we do. It's really, it's like a divided company. You divide into so many different little tasks. That's what's nice about Cartesian. And this is a feature that's not available for non-Cartesian. Because for non-Cartesian, if you look at the aliased image in general, if you pinpoint, okay, here's the location of the image, you ask yourself, where does the signal of this location come from? It comes from all of the image, not just from two locations. That may make it very complicated because every voxel intensity is basically tangled together. That's why you have to solve everything by inverting the gigantic matrix. But because of Cartesian, you don't have to do this. Okay. So there's I guess there's a cost associated with doing this, right? You're doing undersampling. By undersampling, by definition, you're spending half or even more or less of the time to acquire the data, so that we know the SNR scales with the square root of the actual acquisition. So you lose that SNR right there. But on top of that, there's an additional SNR penalty associated with the parallel imaging. Okay, SENSE is basically the really generic form of parallel imaging we're talking about here. There's this thing called the G factor. Okay, that exactly could come to your point here. So if let's say there's two voxel here, and there's two coils, and these two coils have exactly the same coil intensity, coil sensitivity at these locations, and you have one measurement for these two coils, do you think that it's going to be able to enable you to recover these two signals? Probably not, because there's no difference here. They have the same weighting factor. Right? Does that make sense? So what I'm saying here, for this case, if you have the same, for one location, you have the same, or for two locations, sorry, two locations, you have the same coil sensitivity from coil 1 to coil 2, exactly the same, then the cost of recovering this signal is going to be very high because you're going to amplify a lot of noise. Because the difference is so small, that's a very ill-conditioned problem for you to work the matrix.
So when you cancel those rows, can you cancel those rows not always the same, but based on the coil sensitivity map, or basically on the rank probably, or not the rank, sorry, the condition number maybe of the matrix that you...
You're talking about selecting which rows to skip.
Yeah, and basically finding out which one are the best row to skip based on, the, for example, the condition number of the matrix that then you have to invert. And I know maybe that's too costly to find out that, and then it's maybe just better just to choose always the same rows to delete.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I haven't thought about that. Maybe you could put it on. But that's a good thought. I think, but you know, you talk about optimizing the under-sampling.
Because you know that a priori. Ideally, it's true that the coil sensitivity map will depend on the patient. You made examples, the patient is big, then you will change C. But let's say that in the ideal case, if you know that coil sensitivity, then maybe that's really the matrix, the entries of those matrices, then one can select a priori which rows to delete to obtain the matrix with the highest condition number, which will be the one that will give you the better results.
Even optimize based on region. So
Yeah.
particular region of interest you're more interested in, you forget about, you don't care about another.
Yeah, because that will exactly avoid the problem because that you just mentioned. Because if I have the same sensitivity, the matrix, the condition number will be infinite, or depending on the computer. So that would be impossible to invert, and that basically.
Yeah, I have to give it some thought. I don't know whether changing the under-sampling pattern is going to change the noise performance, but that's a good question. Talk offline. Okay.
Assuming it's better to make them to render the coil to be rendered each coil face.
Yeah, you in general you want the coil to be very different from each other. If you have two coils, again, they're the same, they're not contributing additional information. You want them to be as different as possible. So not necessarily random, right? But you want them to be different. Okay.
I know that someone already asked this, but and I know you said we're going to get to this later.
Okay.
But each patient's different. Each patient has different sizes. Therefore, like relative organ orientation may not be exactly the same. So how, from patient by patient basis, how can you effectively get a good sensitivity mapping for
Well, in the slides I'll show you how to do that. Then you probably you can
Okay.
make more sense out of this.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the poster stuff. Okay, so this is a G factor. We're not going to go to too details here. The G factor is really tells you about how much additional SNR penalty you're going to pay for doing parallel imaging, doing sense, on top of the SNR penalty already paying for because of the reduction of acquisition time. Okay. So we want this G factor to be as small as possible. Okay. But we know that G factor is always greater than 1. Okay. It's never going to be less than 1. Mathematically, it's also possible. Yeah, there's an equation here. Yeah, we don't have it. I need to go back. The equation here, it's pretty long.
So there's an equation.
There's equation. Theoretically, how do you measure it? Basically, if you know your coil sensitivities, all the C's, if you know this for every coil, then you should be able to calculate the G factor. It's actually a map, so that tells you it's a voxel by voxel map. For this voxel, the G factor is 1.2. For that voxel, it's 1.5. So the 1.5 one is going to have worse performance. It's going to be more noisy. Okay, so let's just get rid of this here. The G factor here. Okay, it depends on several things, right? Accuracy of a coil assembly. How do you make accurate measurements? The sampling pattern. That's where Luigi's point. This actually matters. Coil geometry and sensitivity, and G factors really tell you how much noise amplified during the inversion process. Let's see here. This is the give you an example of phantom scan. This is the head coil with 12 channels, photo sample, and this is the practice, the Siemens standard for power imaging. Rate 2, rate 3, rate 4, you can appreciate actually when it goes from 2 to 3 to 4, it gets noisier pretty quickly. And this is not a linear. I mean, when you go 2 is actually almost you can't tell the difference. Right? But when you go to 3 and 4, it gets ugly pretty quickly. So in general, if you're talking about modern applications of MRI for clinical use or research, for parallel imaging alone, we're talking about anywhere from 2 to 4 in one direction. There are 2, multi-dimensional observation that's possible too for 3D imaging. But in general, we cannot go beyond too much 4 because things fall apart. That's really a limitation. This is to show an example of phantom scan of 1 over G. Okay. So sorry for the confusion here. So 1 over G here. So this is actually a simulation. You can see that how the G factor or G map depend on the number of elements or the coil geometry. When you go from 8 coil elements to 12, 16, 32, all the way to infinity, these again theoretically practice example 2. But you can see that in general the G factor gets more favorable when it gets more coil elements. So that's why a lot of people really pushing for more coils. We're talking about 128 coils that are available nowadays for brain scans, for example, even more. For cardiac scans, we have 32 coils that are very common as well. Because of this, you have more coils and you can have better performance in terms of power imaging. That can give you capability of achieving higher acceleration. Maybe a 32 coil you can do 4-fold, and 16 channel or 8 channel you can only do 3-fold, 2-fold. That give you more performance. I think so. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, this is some simulation, prior simulation. I think it's equal space around the phantom. Yeah. And
overlapping, because you have, for example, if you have 100 coils, maybe the size of coil is very small, but
Yeah.
not too fast.
well, there is a problem associated with that. So you're right. If you want to wrap around 100 elements around it, then each element has to be smaller. So that means actually, when it gets smaller relative to the object, the coil is not going to pick up the signal from the center because far away, it's farther relative to the coil size. Right? If you loop coil in general, it's the sweet spot is really at a distance that's approximately the same as the diameter. If you're further away, then it falls apart. So that means if you have 100 coils, then the G factor in the center is not going to get too much better. It's just not a single coil can do a good job of picking up signal from the center. Then you're not going to have a good performance for that region. Okay, this is another example showing the way G factor affects the sense or parallel imaging reconstruction here. I think these are different acceleration factor here. So we can see the G factor is spatially non-uniform. For this round phantom, if your coil is around here, in general, the center region has a worse G factor, just because of that reason. So there's really a trade-off. You don't want a coil to be too small, but you want more coils. So it's balance. because the region of interest that you're interested in, usually they're at the center of the body.
So can they be overlapped?
The coils, well, they usually overlap to keep up in terms of design. There's a lot of things going on there. These are coils.
Why center has the worst performance because the distance to the coil?
Because if all the coils cannot pick up a signal from you, let's say it's absolutely zero, so no coil can see that single spot over there. How can you recover it? There's no way to recover it
Why can't we receive the
because it's far away relative to this coil size.
we just
the sensitivity of the coils. See that?
but if we just put our coil just above this
Well, I mean, you cannot put a coil inside your body, right? You have to put
I
it
mean,
Does that make sense?
okay, it's middle inside. Okay.
Right. For a big patient, for example,
Yes, I got it.
has a physical limitation.
The sensitive distance or the sensitive distance of the coil is something like falls off is one of the radius of the coil square. So really small coils can't be as sensitive to depth. So you can have more really small coils, 100 really small coils, but they won't have much depth sensitivity. You have a few really big coils and you can't absorb. That's just because they're all just the same thing. Right? So you could have two concentric coils, right? But they would just do they would just identically do the same thing.
So it's better not to overlap.
Well, in the context of parallel imaging, you want to have different coil sensitivities between your coils. If they have identical coil sensitivities, then which one would you accept?
Any other questions? Good discussion so far. Okay. All right. I'm going to skip this. Okay. So we'll talk a little bit about the coil sensitivity estimation. That was a question. So how do we do that? Well, there are a couple of ways to do that. But they all assume the coil sensitivity is spatially very smooth. Okay? In general, if you make a good coil, or any coil for that matter, the sensitivity doesn't change very fast in space. That's really just the way it is. Okay? So to take advantage of that property, what you can do, some people can do a very low resolution measurement. For example, you can do either beforehand or during the measurement. What you do, instead of 256 to 256, you can do the center, let's say 12 lines or 20 lines. I give you a very low resolution image. Right? I spend only 10% of your time doing that. But because we know that coil sensitivities are very smooth in space, you only need that low resolution image to estimate. You don't need the high resolution. Okay. In terms of how you do it, there are a couple of ways to do that. One is you can use the body coil. I'm familiar with the body coil, the big coil, the single channel coil. You can use a body coil, assuming the body coil gives you very uniform coil sensitivity. Okay. So you acquire a body coil image, and then you acquire another image, the same parameter, same orientation, same volume, but using the surface coil, multi-coil elements. And you divide each individual little image from that coil element by the image you get from the body coil, assuming that body coil is very uniform. So that gives you really a relative coil sensitivity profile for each individual coil element. Okay. Or what you can do, you can skip the body coil measurement. You can do, okay, I'm going to do a 12-channel coil, just require one image. And then we calculate the sum of squares of these individual images. And then we assume that the sum of square image gives you very uniform sensitivity, intensity. Basically, you need some kind of uniform reference so they can divide that individual elements by that uniform reference, whether it's coming from the body coil or coming from the sum of squares image. And then simple division might not work. You have to typically use some kind of smoothing function to make it spatially more smooth. Because research has shown that if you did that, that can get rid of a lot of noise in your coil sensitivity measurement, give you better performance. I believe this is a body reference image here. This is one element from the surface wave. So if you do simple division, you get something like this. It's very noisy, right? I'm not sure what that is. But then what you do is you spatially smooth it out so that you basically denoise, because you don't want noise in this coil system. You get something like this. That's more usable for your power management. You had a question, right? What's that? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
So here is the image one. Here is the image of coil.
Which
Image
one?
space.
Yeah, these are images. Yes.
How can we just apply?
Okay.
Yeah, we did the division box by.
What is it?
We did the division box by.
Voxel by voxel, you get this.
Yeah.
It's very noisy.
And the coil sensitivity is for each individual coil is relative to each voxel, the object.
Right.
So
So the coil sensitivity is a map.
map of the object.
Right.
And is this moving function just like some moving average? Or, I don't know.
Or the spline fitting or something.
Yeah.
Spatially smoothing functions. But there's a limitation here. For example, if you see the coil sensitivity maps, they're only limited to region where you actually have a signal. Like a region here, it doesn't mean that coil sensitivity is 0 here. It's just because you have a signal. So that sometimes matters. Not all the time. Sometimes you want to do this too.
Is the first paper to estimate the coil sensitivity because it's 1999. Before that, all people estimated the coil sensitivity.
I think there are people probably did that before, but not for the purpose of doing power management. This is really the first paper showing that.
As long as you have power division, you must estimate the coil sensitivity. So you first power division.
Oh, you're talking about the SMASH paper or something. There are case-based methods before this SENSE technique. That was published in 1997. Yes, they did measure the coil sensitivity here.
It wasn't until like these two papers, this paper in 97, where they actually used the coil sensitivity information. We knew there was a coil sensitivity profile. It was used.
Do they still use this technique recently?
What is it?
Do they still use this technique?
It's probably changed a little bit, but I think overall it's very similar. Okay, in the interest of time, I think I'll skip this. Let's talk a little bit about case-based parallel imaging methods. So far we talked about SENSE. Okay, SENSE is really the most generic form of parallel imaging because basically you did a whole bunch of measurements, under-sampling measurements, multiple coil. You just try to invert that matrix and get your voxel values. But actually, before SENSE was developed in 1999, there are other case-based parallel imaging methods several years before that. Later, it was shown that these are really the same thing. If you go through the math here, it's just different ways of doing parallel imaging. There are pros and cons for each technique. But I will show you basically the basic principle of how this kind of techniques works. Okay? So let's say it's all about synthesizing spatial harmonics. I'll show you what that is. Let's go back to the case-based signal here. Okay? This again is a simplified one-dimensional object with a coil sensitivity, right? For a transform. Okay, so if, and this is the big if here, if you can synthesize a virtual coil sensitivity profile here, C-comp, based on linear combination of the known coil sensitivity. So these are weighting factors for each coil element here and induce summation together. If you could figure out a set of weighting factors, so that if you did this, actually that gives you a very nice complex exponential function in space, sinusoidal. But it's a complex version in space. So basically you're trying to, well, I have a whole bunch of coil elements. There are different coil sensitivity profiles. If I do a linear combination of these profiles and I come up with like a sinusoidal oscillation, like a composite coil sensitivity. Okay. All right, fine. That's totally okay.
So we just need to determine the weighting factor of each coil.
If you can do that, yes. So let me show you here. Skip a couple slides here. So this is what it is. This is let's say this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8 elements, right? And each individual element has a level profile here. I'm showing they're exactly the same. They should not be, right? Might not be. But what I'm saying is, okay, can you come up with some parameter, weighting factor, to linearly combine this signal so that you get different shapes, sinusoidal or constant shapes? Right. Intuitively, what you can do is, for example, if you say weighting factor is 1 here, minus 1 here, 1 here, minus 1 here, it's going to be something like going down, up, going down, going up, going down. It's sort of like sinusoid. This is where this is going, basically. Right? It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, nothing's perfect. So assume you can do this. You can come up with different weighting factors. You can synthesize these different shapes, different frequency, and different phase in space. That's what we're talking about here. So let's go back here. Go through the math. Okay. So let's say we can do that. Let's say it's perfect for now. Okay. Then things get interesting because if you combine all these coil element case-based data, not the coil sensitivity anymore, but case-based data, using the same weighting factors that you figured out. And you go through the math here. Okay? So you plug in this here, it's the weighting factor n gamma, and there's the integral of the coil sensitivity object for your transform. And you swap this order, so you do integral and do the summation here first. Okay? And then what is this? Well, this is actually the same here. So that means basically this one is e to the minus I 2 pi delta ky1. So delta ky here is really the spatial frequency. The larger delta ky, the faster it changes in space, oscillates in space. Okay? If you plug this in here, and that means this term is going to be combined with this term together. So instead of ky, actually you now have my e to minus I 2 pi ky plus delta ky. Okay? Does that make sense? All right. So this is the math. This is what it is. And if you think about it, this is actually exactly the case-based signal for ky plus delta ky. So we're talking about if you combine, do a linear combination of these case-based samples at location ky. And if this assumption is true, you're actually going to get a signal for different case-based location. You're actually jumping case-based location. You're changing the case-based location without using your gradients. The gradient still stays at one location, but you can actually get signal from another location. If this is true. This is really the basic principle of problem imaging, case-based based problem imaging. You shift in case-based using coil sensitivity profiles. Right? So that, because you can calculate this, so that means you don't have to acquire second location. You can skip it, because you already know it.
And for this value, it's not for any individual coil. So we do not have a coil sensitivity.
Right. That's true.
We just assume it's a uniform.
Right. But that's what you're looking for. Sense? Okay. All right. So this is, again, let's just repeat one more time here. This is what happens. You combine coil number 1 and number 2 using linear combination factors here, a signal to combine. And basically, you get, this is the line you measure, right? Ky location. And you actually calculate this location. So you measured one line, but you calculate 2 lines. So that means you don't need to acquire this one, you can skip it, save some time. And you can do that every output. Right? Think about it. That's the way to achieve 2x acceleration.
It means that if we can find the weighting factor, change the this still allows to get a full case space.
Yes. Yeah. Using the coil sensitivity. So this is a totally different way of using coil sensitivity to enable undersampling in case space. All right, I'm going to skip this here. One more time. So the first technique that was published in this space is called SMASH. This is basically exactly what it is. This was published in 1997 and was actually before the SENSE technique. So what it does is you have two coils, okay? And what you can do is you need to do a little auto-calibration. Why do we need to do auto-calibration? Because auto-calibration, you're doing that to calculate the rating factors N1, N2, N3. I'll show you next slide how to do that. But let's say you have all the rating factors, okay? Then what you need to do is for this line right here, and you use the weighting factor to calculate the line above it. And to do the same thing, based on this line, you're using the weighting factor to calculate the line above it. So you can fill out the case space line by line. So skipping every other line, but you can get the full case space covered. Okay. All right. So auto calibration. Well, how do you figure out N1 and N2? You don't know. Well, if you know the coil sensitivity, you can. Right? You can just fit it. That's one way to do that. In this particular work, they chose not to do that. They use what we call auto calibration, which is basically an indirect way to measure coils or use the coil sensitivity. They acquire a couple more lines here. And then what they do is, okay, because I'm going to use this line to figure out, I'm going to use this line to figure out this line, and that line to figure out in the future. So, in order to calculate N1 and N2 rating factors, what I do is, okay, I know this line already, and also I know the yellow line. I'm going to find out a linear combination of these lines that fits best with the measure of the yellow. And the weighting factor corresponding to the best fit is a weighting factor of 1. This is called auto-calibration. It's a way of calculating these weighting factors so they can use it to fill out the entire case space. Okay. Skip this one as well. So a little comparison here between SENSE and SMASH. Obviously, SMASH is based on case space data only. You notice that we don't reconstruct any image before we fill in the case space. We fill out the case space first, missing case space. Once we have the full case space, what we need to do is simply do Fourier transform to recover the image. Right? Or the SENSE technique is really the opposite. It operates in the image space because it calculates coil sensitivity, which is in image space, and you do a fitting and inverse transform. And when you do the inverting of the matrix, you get the image data already. Okay. So the operation is different in terms of which domain we're working on. We're not going to go through the detail here, but the paper is published now showing that the SMASH is really a special case of SENSE, which is a more generic form of parallel imaging. They're connected to each other. They're just using the coil system in a little different way. But what's nice about SMASH or these kind of techniques is that it does not require a direct measurement of the coil system. Okay. The auto calibration process can, I think there's an advantage that it can reduce any measurement errors in the coil system because you don't need to measure. Okay. The auto calibration process takes care of that problem. Right. There's certain limited applications where SENSE might fail when field view is smaller than object size, but we're not talking. So for the parallel imaging part, the summary is that parallel imaging uses coil sensitivity to speed up MR acquisition. Okay? There are two types of techniques: image space-based SENSE technique, and also case space-based SMASH. And there are a whole bunch of other variants of techniques based on case space. why do we want to use parallel imaging? Well, we want faster scaling, higher patient throughput. Sometimes we want to do real-time imaging, right? And then you have to really accelerate very aggressively. Or imaging for interventions, for example, or for motion suppression, this kind of thing. So there's a physiological and physical reasons why you want to do parallel imaging, not just from the standpoint of saving time. Okay? Against parallel imaging, well, SNR is really an issue here. So if you talk about applications where you're already SNR starving, doing parallel imaging is going to make it worse because you have G factor on top of the SNR loss due to reduced acquisition time. So you have to consider these, and also what kind of parallel imaging factor to use and things like that in a practical scale. Yes.
In SMAT, if you do additional measurement of the coil sensitivity map and use this information to calculate the missing case-based line, is it equivalent to the sense?
It's If you go through all the math here, they're very rigorous. It's essentially the same thing. You just solve the same problem using different way. That's what it is. It might not be obvious when you first look at it.
In the sense, you're unwrapping the image space, right?
Right.
And the SMAT only reconstructing the missing case-based line.
Right. But the image space and case space, these are just like a linear Fourier transform to each other. Any operation you can do case space, you can always there's an image space further away. Think about this way.
So I have an additional question. To reconstruct the missing case-based line, you can go from any measurement of the case-based line in the corner.
You talk about how much distance you can jump.
How you can control the jumping?
You can, but that's actually a very good point. So let me go back here. So what determines how much you can jump here? That's really the delta ky. How large delta ky you can do? Well, think about it. If you want a very large delta ky, that means this harmonic, spatial harmonic you're synthesizing has to be fluctuating very, very fast in space. Think about it. If you have a number of coil elements, they are very smooth, very slowly changing in space. You have a whole bunch of smooth function. Can you really generate a very high quality, high frequency function? As the frequency gets higher, it's going to be harder to do to some point. There's a limitation. Yeah, so talk about your whole case space, you only need one line. That's very nice. 256 information factor. But
if you are not fluctuating that fast, that means you just accumulate your noise step by step. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
that's exactly right. That's a good question. That noise is really it's always my noise. If in MR world, if you don't know the answer, it's the noise. The case-based method, sometimes they call it nonsense method. Anyway, so that's a good question. Basically, there's a limit in how big the delta ky you can tell. That limits how the distance you can travel, you can jump in case space.
Oh, one quick question that you mentioned. If the field of view is smaller than the object size, the sense may fail. But I think in the sense method, it's always smaller than the object size because there's aliasing.
No, the intended field of view, not the aliased field of view.
Sorry, which field of view?
The field of view you want to reconstruct.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. So one more word about the distance you can jump. That really limits your acceleration factor, right? Because if you skip, instead of skip every other line, if you skip 2 lines every 3 lines, then you have to jump a larger distance to fill out 2 lines. means the delta ky has to be larger, and then you're going to bump into anything in terms of performance.
Do we still have a G factor for this match?
There's no
Something equal.
again, it's implicit. Okay. Yeah, because the way you're using coil sensitivity, everything's implicit. It's actually very complicated. Okay, so any more questions about parallel imaging?
Why people are using sense more often than smash?
They use more sense often. I don't think that's. I mean, Smash parallel case-based methods, for example, different vendors have different favorites. I think it's on the Siemens platform. It's more popular to use a case-based method. It's a technique called wrapper. On the Philips, for example, their products are more sense-based. Siemens also has a sense version, many different factors. There's really no big difference. Okay. All right. So in the last maybe 20 minutes or so, hopefully I can cover a little bit of comfort sensing. This is comfort sensing is a totally new category of acceleration technique. It doesn't use coil sensitivity profiles. Instead, it uses the sparsity of your image. Okay. What is sparsity? What's your understanding of sparsity? What is sparse?
All zero. We use couples one.
What is it?
Have a ratio of zero. Just
Yeah, a lot of zeros, right? Matrix and a lot of zeros. That's basically very sparse. And the way comfort sensing works, it requires two things. One is sparsity we're going to talk about, and one is random undersampling. So we'll just talk about basic principle here. I'm going to draw something so that hopefully we can get some basic message across here. So, okay, so what is sparsity? Let's say you have an object. Let's say the length is H sample. Okay. Versus this one. This is probably more sparse, right? We can have the same energy. Maybe this is a lot higher, but this is much more sparse signal. Okay, that's a basic concept of sparsity. So, how to, if you know the object is sparse, then there's a trick that you can play. This is really the core of comfort sensing. It's called L1, based on the optimization. It's based on an L1 mode, meaning that, let's say if you know, for example, the total energy of the signal, but you don't know how much energy is in each individual time point, but you know the total energy. Okay? Let's say you have x here. So x is what you're looking for. It's a vector of 8 by 1. Okay? And if you know the total energy, and what you do is if you minimize the L2 norm. Do you know what L2 norm is? It's a square. So each signal has a square and the element together. That's really L2 norm. L1 norm is the summation of the absolute values on all 8 together. Okay. So let me give you one specific example. It's easier to understand. This is more complex because a signal. Let's say you have two signals. All right? Two signals. If we know, for example, signal x1 and x2, we're looking for. We don't know what they are. What we do know is that maybe x2 is equal to, let's say 2 minus 2x1. Okay. Can you see it? Yeah, should I write on the board center here? It's better. So we know that x2 is equal to 2 minus 2x1. So that means x2 plus 2x1 is equal to 2. Right? So what does that mean? If you draw it, to x1, so it's 2. That means x1, x2 value has to be on the line. Somewhere on the line. I don't know where they are. Because you only one equation with two variables. But it has to be on the line. Right? Now, in order to find out what x1, x2 is, there are two versions. One is, let's say, I want to minimize the L2 norm of x vector, which is equal to x1 plus squared plus x2 squared. If you add this equation, you want to minimize this, then how do you solve it? Pictorially, what's happening is that, okay, this x1 plus squared plus x2 squared, this is really a circle. So I draw two circles here. Okay? So here is 2, 1, right? Let's say this is a maybe 0.5. This is a 0.3. Okay? So that means any point on this circle, the L2 norm is going to be 0.3. Maybe not 0.3. It's 0.09. 0.09. 0.9, right? 0.9. Any point on that bigger circle is going to be 0.25. Right? So what I'm saying is that, okay, when the circle gets bigger, the L2 norm gets bigger. Or you want to minimize it. So you're basically, mathematically, you're solving the equation subject to this constraint, but at the same time, you want to minimize the L2 norm. So you want the circle to be as small as possible. But at the same time, you want the circle to have some kind of intersection or overlap with the line. So what would be the solution? It gets bigger and bigger, it's going to eventually touch that line. That's the solution. That spot here. Right? That's your solution. Okay? So you can imagine this solution has x1 equal to, I don't know, some non-zero value, x2 equal to some value. Right? And what do you do? Okay, so that's one solution here. Let's say this is a solution number 1. Number 2, I want to minimize the L1 norm, which is equal to x1 plus x2. Absolute values. Can you think of a shape for this? What is it? Rectangle? What kind of rectangle? It's not a rectangle. What is that? It's a very common shape. Yes? A square? Yeah, it's close. It's a here. So the same line here. 2, 1. It's a diamond. It is a square, but it's like right? So like here, let's say this is a 0.5. So any point on this diamond to have the same and the same thing. So you want to grow it bigger so that some point on this diamond touches the line. That's your solution. So what do you think? What is your solution? It's got to be here. Because when you grow, it's going to touch here, first point. So the solution here is x1 equal to 1, x2 equal to 0. Now, the question, go back to sparsity. x1 and x2, 2, 0. Here, if you do that, you get non-zero values for both. If you do this, you get 1, 0, and 1, non-zero. Which one's more sparse? This one's more sparse. It's got 1, 0 value. So what I'm saying is that, okay, if you know the signal is very sparse, that means it's very highly likely one of them is going to be 0. So, go ahead.
sparse in just one domain.
Just in this domain, yes.
Okay.
Yes. So what I'm saying, if you have prior knowledge, you know for sure the signal is very sparse. That means it's maybe 95% it's going to have 1, 0 value. You don't know which one, it's going to be 1. So that means this solution is going to be more likely to be a true solution.
You solve with L1 norm or L2 norm?
This L1 norm.
Yeah, no. Right, I'm just saying.
L1 norm give you more likely a true solution.
Right, just because.
Because that's more sparse solution.
So we know that the signal is more sparse.
Yeah, if we know it, yes. That's really the bottom line. Comfort sensing, we assume this, the image is sparse.
How sparse will it be?
How sparse? Okay. Well, if it's very sparse, they give you higher attenuation factor. I don't know if there's a metric about how sparse it is. What is it?
If you become more aggressive on compensation, the image you get is more smooth.
Right.
Then you at some certain way you moving away from the true object.
Of course. Yeah. There's always a limit.
So I think that should be the limit of sparsity.
Right. If it's more sparse, for example, you have in 256 by 256 image, if you know for sure there's only one non-zero value, then you can get probably hundreds of values, because that's very sparse. Right? If you know there's only one zero value, 256 times 256 minus one non-zero value, then it's not going to go anywhere. Right?
Is it possible to use L0? No.
Very good point. So, okay, what is L0? Do you know?
It's like whether you have that value.
Right.
To each value
Instead of sum of the absolute values, you actually count the number of non-zero values. Right? So, if you use the same strategy, what is the shape of the
Nice.
2 lines? What? Can you try it? You mean like, enjoy it? Here? So like if
1 and 2. 0, 1, 2. Only 3 values.
yeah, it's only I mean it's only 0, 1, 2. Right? So it's a several dots, not a shape. There's only several dots. Maybe not a dot.
How to say?
So think about it, right? This is that. What is the value of this one? The 1. Okay. What about this one? I think you're correct. There's like 2 lines.
It's like
Right?
3 parts of the here, right? Only the original is 0, and all the lines are 1, and other base are 2. Is it correct?
Right.
Yes.
So all these are 2.
Yeah.
Anything on that these two axes is 1. Origin is 0.
0,
It's a very weird shape, right? So but you know this is not the solution. It's gotta be on the axis. So you're right. If you do L0 norm, you're actually more likely to give you the true solution, the sparse solution. It's true. It's just mathematically, it's very hard optimization problem to solve. Okay. All right. I think the breath is only here. Still have 10 minutes, maybe. Okay. All right. So the bottom line is, if you do L1 minimization, you're going to be more likely to hit on a true solution if you know the object is sparse. That's the principle of conversation. Okay. I'll just spend 10 minutes talking about how to actually do it. Can you erase this? So we know that in image the x is 256, and Fourier transform of that x is case space. Again, 256, case space. If you write in matrix form, it's basically you encoding matrix times x equal to your measurement y. Okay. Now, comprehensing, the goal of comprehensing MRI is still accelerated by undersampling cases. That means that you're not going to sample this many case-based locations. You're going to sample less than that. Even using only one coil, you don't need multiple coils, just one coil. And so the y here maybe is half the measurements here. Okay, the encoding matrix corresponding to change. Okay, and we want to find out x. Okay, so, but we know x is very sparse. So what do? Well, the x is really basically we're saying, you know. The optimization problem is really you try to minimize the L1 norm of x or any transform, weighted transform, different transform. I'm just using this a very generic example. L1 minimize the L1 norm of x such that there's data fidelity term, meaning that whatever x you calculated. When you do the encoding, because the encoding matrix here is a Fourier transform, right? It's undersampled Fourier transform. If you assume x here, you do undersampled Fourier transform, you get some values in case space. These values have to match whatever you measure at the location. Basically, we're saying if you have a measurement in a location, then your x has to make sense for that location. For all the locations you do have measurements in case space. So this is data fidelity. Assuming you satisfy the data fidelity, then you minimize the L1 norm. The solution that gives you the minimal L1 norm is the solution.
How do you know the solution is unique?
It's not. I don't think it's unique. Yeah. So, well, this is actually a convex problem. So you're more likely to get a unique solution. It's sort of on borderline of convex because it's a diamond. You can say it's convex and it might not, because if you fall on the line, then it's not convex. There's many solutions. But if you happen to have a little, like this point touch that solution, then you have a unique solution. So it's not guaranteed because of the shape. But this circle is definitely very convex. The diamond is sort of borderline. The reason why our zero norm it's not convex. It's like this. So any non-convex problem you have that same issue. What is it? The solution might not be. So that's why we want to L1 norm instead of L0 norm because it's easier to do.
So we want the set values of x to meet this requirement of L1 norm.
Right. Remember, this is underdetermined problem. Because the number of measurements here is less than the number of measurements by definition because you accelerate in that position. So if you don't have this kind of thing, you have probably unlimited numbers because of solution that satisfy this solution. That's how you do it. Questions?
What is the whole procedure of this? You just still skip some lines of the case space?
Yeah, you skip line in case space, but the way you skip line is different from power limiting. Power limiting, you want to skip line in a very organized fashion. Right? That's actually another component of competency, which is you have to have more like a random sample. You cannot do this. Because when you do this, you have very structured aliasing. the signal is not very sparse.
But in this compressive, how do you determine which case space you apply, which is
Yeah, basically you want to have a very sort of random sense.
That's random.
Yeah, you can look at the points per function, for example. Make sure that if you have a regular sampling like this, your points per function is going to have a whole bunch of peaks. If you do random sampling, you want to have a center peak and all the other little side ones. You don't want many huge peaks because that means anytime there's a peak in the points per function, that means you're replicating the object at the location, and that means you're not making it very sparse. So the two, I wouldn't have time to cover all this, but there's really two very important requirements: sparsity of the image or any domain of it, and also the case-based sampling has to be sort of random location. You cannot have this structure of sampling. Yes.
Fitting on this problem, you keep A fixed. Yeah, A is fixed.
What? A, yes, if you determine a under-sampling pattern, then A is fixed, yes.
How do you do the reconstruction with this? How to do the reconstruction from the case space?
Well, we reconstruct the image by solving this optimization problem. This is a math problem. we can solve.
So it's like you like reconstructing the missing case-based data point, right?
No, you're not quite doing that. We're just you try to calculate the image.
Yeah.
X is the image of the voxel array.
What do we what's the condition we have to calculate this L1?
Yeah, this is the convex optimization. There are many different methods you can use. Is that a question? I know we don't have enough time to cover this, but it's just hopefully give you some initial ideas about how this works. Any more questions? Okay, I think we're out of time.
Thank you.
So Reth is here. She's going to help with evaluations for the course. I think I don't know if you got evaluations or just
No, I brought 15, but there's another couple extra.
the more that you make it fill them out, the more I appreciate it. As is impossible.
On that